So whose voice actually manages to cut through all that noise? And is real,
Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in with a huge question for 2025. Who actually holds the power? I mean, is it the people officially in charge, or is it the people who have all of our attention? We're going to follow the data here to see what fame and, real influence actually looks like right now. So let's get into it.
So, yeah, this is really the big question that frames everything we're talking about today. I mean, think about it. We are just swimming in information, right? So whose voice actually manages to cut through all that noise? And is real, genuine influence found where we've always been told it is? Maybe not.
And this really gets to the heart of the conflict, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got authority, official elected power. And on the other hand, you've got attention, the kind of global attention that people choose to give. This tension, this push and pull between the two, is absolutely key to understanding what fame even is anymore. So let's break that down.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we've got to look at the two, let's call them currencies of modern influence. They're two totally different systems for measuring who matters, and they're running side by side. And yeah, sometimes they crash right into each other.
All right, first up is the one we all know, the classic institutional power. You know what I'm talking about. This is influence that gets the official stamp of approval from established places. We're talking legacy media, those big fancy awards, governments, that whole scene. For decades, this was pretty much the only game in town when it came to measuring impact.
So a great example of this is the Time 100 list. You'll see world leaders on there, like Donald Trump and Keir Starmer for sure. But you'll also see people like Muhammad Yunus, a social entrepreneur whose work in microfinance has literally changed millions of lives. The point is, their influence is given a thumbs up. It's validated by these big, established institutions.
But then you have the other side of the coin, a much newer and, let's be honest, a way more chaotic force, algorithmic attention. This has nothing to do with what some committee in a boardroom tells us is important. Nope, this is all about what the data shows we are actively interested in, what we're actually searching for, what we're streaming, what we're talking about online, right now.
And when you look at that data, it tells a completely different story. The list of the most searched people in 2025? Well, it's a totally new winner's circle. This is a world where the algorithms reward the personalities who can keep a massive, non-stop conversation going, and it's a wild mix of politics, pop culture, and tech.
I mean, a perfect example of this in action? Sabrina Carpenter. Her breakout hits, like Espresso, created this incredible feedback loop of streams, TikTok trends, you name it, and it just exploded. She went from being an opening act to basically Gen Z's it girl in what felt like a blink of an eye. And that was all powered by the algorithm, by pure digital engagement.
So there you have it, these two totally separate worlds, operating at the same time. One is all about formal authority and getting the nod from the establishment. The other is built on just sheer, massive algorithm-fueled attention online.
And this leads us to a really crucial question, one that's super relevant today. In 2025, where does real power actually come from? Is it the leader who can sign a bill into law? Or is it the innovator who can completely shape the public conversation? And maybe even more important, what happens when those two worlds point to completely different people as being the most powerful?
So what happens when these two worlds collide? Well, the most powerful people out there today, they don't just choose one lane. No way. They live right at that intersection, that collision point. They've figured out how to master both institutional power and algorithmic attention.
I mean, look at Elon Musk. He's a perfect case study, right? He is constantly being recognized by institutions. He's a mainstay on the Time list for his work in EVs, space, AI, you name it. But at the exact same time, he literally owns one of the biggest digital town squares where the public debate is actually happening.
And you see the same kind of hybrid power popping up in sports, too. The biggest athletes today, they're not just players anymore. They're basically, as this quote says, an athlete as media network. They're turning their sports careers into full-blown global media empires.
You've got icons like Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and Virat Kohli, who are just masters at this. They take their unbelievable achievements on the field and combine them with this massive scale on social media. They've turned themselves from just athletes into these huge global brands.
Okay, so if that's the playbook for how to be influential today, what does that tell us about tomorrow? Who are going to be the defining figures of the next decade? Where is all this going?
Well, if you look at lists like the Time 100 Next, you start to see a really clear signal. The whole idea of who a celebrity is getting way bigger. It's not just about actors and pop stars anymore. More and more, it's about the policymakers, the scientists, and the tech founders who manage to capture the public's imagination.
And the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, it just hammers this point home. It shows us a whole new generation that doesn't see fame as the goal. For them, it's a launch pad. It's the starting line for building businesses, for pushing causes. They are experts at turning attention into actual ventures, at building brands on social platforms first, and at growing through really deep connections with their communities.
All right, so we've looked at this from all sides. The old guard institutions, the new school algorithms, the next generation of stars. So what's the big takeaway here? When you boil it all down, what does fame really mean in 2025?
Well, one thing's for sure. We are not in a world with one single top-down definition of fame anymore. That's over. What we have now is more like a multipolar fame ecosystem. Influence isn't just concentrated at the very top, it's spread out across all kinds of people. Politicians, innovators, artists, creators, you name it.
And this is maybe the most crucial point of all. Attention is not the same thing as authority. Clicks aren't the same as credibility. But, and this is a big but, the main lesson we can learn from the most powerful people today is that you absolutely need both if you want to make a real, lasting impact and actually shape the world.
And this basically lays out the new playbook for anyone who wants to build influence. It's like a 3-step plan. Step 1, earn that institutional credibility. Step 2, go out and capture that algorithmic attention. And step 3, you merge it all, your content with commerce, with a cause, to build something that actually lasts.
So, that leaves us with one last, kind of provocative question to chew on. If the algorithms that track our collective attention are now the ones crowning our new kings and queens, then who or what gets to decide what really matters next? Something to think about. Thanks for watching.